Hello, Bachu. Welcome to Audiobooks channel. So you are listen about. B. Stem. The aerial part of the plant body is known as shoot system. Stem is the main axis of this shoot system. Stem is the ascending part of the plant body which develops from plumule and bears reproductive units, that is, buds. It is differentiated into nodes and internodes. It is usually positively phototropic, negatively geotropic, and negatively hydrotropic. It shows different types of buds, axillary, apical, accessory, etc. At nodes, it produces dissimilar lateral organs, such as leaves and flowers, and similar green organs, such as branches. Young stem is and capable of photosynthesis. The primary functions of the stem are to produce and support branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, conduction of water and minerals, and transportation of food to plant parts. Modifications of stem. Stem develops some modifications for additional or accessory functions. To perform such functions, stem shows different modifications. Modifications of stem. Stem develops some modifications for additional or accessory functions. To perform such function, stem shows different modifications. Underground stem. In some herbaceous plants, stem develops below the soil surface, called as underground stem. Underground stem remains dormant during unfavorable condition, and on the advent of favorable condition produces aerial shoots. Underground stem is known to store food, helps in perennation and vegetative propagation. 1. Rhizome. It is prostrate, dorsive, antrally thickened, and brownish in color. It grows either horizontally or obliquely beneath the soil. Rhizome shows nodes and internodes, scales, leaves, and bears terminal and axillary buds at nodes. Terminal bud under favorable conditions produces aerial shoot which degenerates at the end of favorable condition. Growth of rhizome takes place with lateral buds. Such growth is known as sympodial growth. For example, ginger, Zingiber officinale, turmeric, Curcuma domestica, canna, etc. In plants where rhizomes grows obliquely, terminal's bud brings about growth of rhizomes. This is known as monopodial growth. For example, nymphea, nelumbo, lotus, pteris, fern, etc. 2. Stem tuber. Special underground branches of stem at their tips become irregularly swollen due to storage of food material, which is mostly starch. Presence of distinct nodes, but not internodes, classifies tuber as stem. At nodal part, scale leaves are present with axillary buds, commonly known as eyes. Eyes can produce aerial shoots under favorable conditions. Tubers are propagated vegetatively, for example, potato, Solanum tuberosum, Matalu, Helianthus tuberosus. Tuber has two distinct ends, viz., apical end and basal end, called as rose and heel end, respectively. The number of nodes and eyes is more towards rose end. 3. Bulb is an underground spherical or piriform stem. Stem is highly reduced and discoid. It bears a whorl of fleshy leaves. The scale leaves or fleshy leaves show concentric arrangement over the stem. These store food material. Some outer scale leaves become thin and dry. The reduced stem produces adventitious roots at its base. The bulb is of different types. Tunicated or layered bulb is made up of fleshy leaves arranged in concentric manner with outer dry scale leaf. For example, onion. In garlic, the bulb is scaly or compound tunicated. The fleshy scales, cloves, are arranged in overlapping pattern. 4. Corm. Corm is swollen underground spherical or subspherical internode of vertically growing stem. It is condensed structure with circular or ring-like nodes. Presence of axillary buds and scales is observed. Adventitious buds are produced which help in vegetative propagation. Adventitious roots are produced at lower part of stem, for example, colocasia, arbi, amorphophallus, zamicand or elephant foot, etc. B. Subaerial stem. The stems are generally weak or straggling stems growing over the ground and need support for perpetuation. Sometimes these stems are found to grow beneath the soil surface also. Thus they show contact with both air and soil. Subaerial stems are meant for perennation and vegetative propagation. Scale leaves and axillary buds are present over stem surface. The latter produces aerial shoots. The different types of subaerial shoots are as follows. 1. Trailer. The shoot spreads over the ground without intervals. The branches are either flat, that is procumbent, or partly vertical, that is decumbent, for example, euphorbia, tridax, etc. 2. Runner. They are special narrow prostrate or horizontal green branches which develop at the base of erect shoots known as crown. Runners spread in all directions to produce new crowns with bunch of adventitious roots. Presence of nodes with scale leaves and axillary buds is observed, e.g. cynodon, lawn grass, centella, hydrocotyle, oxalis, etc. 3. Stolons. The slender lateral branch arising from the base of main axis is known as stolon. In some plants it is above ground, wild strawberry. Primarily stolon shows upward growth in the form of ordinary branch, but when it bends and touches the ground, terminal bud grows into new shoot and adventitious roots, for example, mentha. 4. Sucker. It is non-green runner like branch of stem which develops from underground base of roots. It grows horizontally below soil and finally comes above the soil surface to produce a new plant. Sucker can be termed as underground runner, e.g., chrysanthemum, banana, etc. 5. Offset. These are one internode long runners in rosette plants at ground or water level. Offset helps in vegetative propagation, for example, water hyacinth or jalcumbi, eichhornia, and pistia. C. Aerial modification. Stem or its vegetative part modify to carry out specialized functions. They develop various modifications for this purpose. Such modified stems are called as metamorphosed stems. The different modifications can be discussed as under. 1. Thorn. It is modification of apical or axillary bud. Thorn is hard-pointed and mostly straight structure, except bougainvillea, where it is curved and useful for climbing. It helps in reducing transpiration and being hard and pointed, provides protection device against browsing or marauding animals. Apical bud develops into 1. Thorn. It is modification of apical or axillary bud. Thorn is hard-pointed and mostly straight structure, except bougainvillea, where it is curved and useful for climbing. It helps in reducing transpiration and being hard and pointed, provides protection device against browsing or marauding animals. Apical bud develops into thorn in Carissa, whereas axillary bud into thorn in Duranta, citrus, bougainvillea, etc. 2. Phylloclade. Modification of stem into leaf like photosynthetic organ is known as phylloclade. Being stem, it possesses nodes and internodes. It is thick, fleshy, and succulent, contains mucilage for retaining water, e.g. opuntia, cylindrical in casuarina, and ribbon-like in Muhlenbeckia. 3. Cladodes. The branches of limited growth that is one internode long and performing photosynthetic function are called as cladodes. True leaves are reduced to spine or scales, e.g. asparagus. 4. Cladophylls. These are leaf-like structures bore in the axil of scale leaf. It has floral bud and scale leaf in the middle, that is upper half is leaf and lower half is stem. For example, ruscus. Stem tendrils. Tendrils are thin, wiry, photosynthetic, leafless coiled structures. They give additional support to developing plant. Tendrils have adhesive glands for fixation. Apical bud in Vitis quadrangularis gets modified into tendril. The further growth is carried out by axillary bud. This branching pattern is termed dichotomous. Axillary tendril in Passiflora. Axillary bud gets modified in tendril. Extra axillary bud is the one which grows outside the axil. This bud in Cucurbita gets med-ified into tendril. Normally, floral buds are destined to produce flowers, but in plants like Antigonon, they produce tendrils. 5. Bulbils. In plants like Dioscorea, axillary bud becomes fleshy and rounded due to storage of food called as bulbil. When it falls off it, produces new plant and help in vegetative propagation. Next part in other video, and thank you so much for listening the full video.